All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And I just want to talk about training here today. We're going to talk about a little bit about periodization, a little bit on how to approach your training, and just a few different things that are meant to help you start thinking in a little bit of a new way, to challenge your thinking in terms of how you train, and also really just to give you guys some ideas of your own. Okay, so if you have never tried some of these variations, or if there's something new to your repertoire, for new clients, for people tuning in, just getting started, a lot of things just to get familiar with that will be helpful. For instance, like a side to side twist here, or when we start talking about training core, training speed, balance, plyometrics, just overall programming, right? Getting out, getting active, getting steps. That's a huge part of the plan itself, is really just factoring in the lifestyle of how you can stay active enough, guys, how you can build in your workouts. Rope flow, again, something I've started doing more recently in the past little over a year now. And I really like the benefits, for instance, here, really challenging my thoracic mobility and, some of my core um, mobility, stability. And in general, it's a very nice, relaxing kind of flow movement. You're getting circulation in the arms. It has a martial arts, dance like, flow like quality to it. And it can be applied well and integrated into a lot of other um, a lot of other modalities in that way. So really great, something, modality, new kind of approach to look into. When we talk about mobilizing and opening up the spine, I've done yoga for many, many years, but I think the thing that started helping me most was just understanding just how much light flexion and extension, and even light rotation regularly through the spine, can help stimulate that circulation and stimulate that awareness in those more intricate muscles. Same thing again with rope flow, allowing you to get this movement and these waves through the body. And obviously, as you get more complex in the patterns, you start to sync up with different movements, be able to combine different circuits, different flow sequences, different patterns, different moves together. So um, really easy to start. I basically just picked up some rope and started trying out different weights, sizes, lengths, and watching, picking up from different YouTube videos. And I will be obviously going more and more in depth, and you can check out some of the videos as well on this channel, and some of the other channels too, as far as I begin to upload more and more information about rope flow, just me introducing it, me giving some lessons related to it. And also be talking a lot about that core, and especially for men, that hip mobility. As you just saw me doing a hip opening sequence, and building that calisthenic strength, body weight strength, um, adding weight to the body weight movements, always a great way to build power. A lot of these old school techniques, kettlebell, you can get an entire training series, and you can build an entire program around a kettlebell itself. Very, very efficient tool, and similar to the mace, which I do want to start, or the club, and I want to start incorporating that more along with the ropes and the bells. So keep an eye out for that. Classic push-ups, hitting more of a tricep position, more of a sumo squat with the kettlebells. And I want, just to stress that if you're, you know, healing from injury, there's a lot of specific things, again, we go over first before, pushing into such a wide variety of exercises, or, particular exercises, for example, like a deadlift, which I've practiced my whole life, and still something that I just use for certain things, because I do have injuries, because I have gone through that process, and I myself am training just for health, for mobility, for longevity. So it is always to me been about, the foundation that I talked about is circulation, getting this regular consistency. And as someone who's gone through the high impact training, figuring out how to get the low impact training, available in a way that's, just easy to incorporate. And so that's what led me to wanting to include more of that. And obviously you still get the higher intensity, you still get the plyometrics, sprinting, always talk about such a great power and primal movement. So that kind of factors in. But really, in general, the main two polarities we're thinking is push pull, whether it's upper body, lower body, and then our rotation is all built in there, whether it's the rope flow, the core, the rotational movement in some way, shape, or form that we're trying to build into those pushes, to those pulls. And isometrics, again, just working on the core, working on some of the calisthenics. Isometrics will be going over as a really, really great way to strengthen, the tissue, the connective tissue, the joints, the ligaments, not just the muscles, and also help rehabilitate injury, help deal with, the scar tissue healing cycle and process, again, by, triggering basically that force production in a very controlled way where the fibers can fire through different ranges of motion. And then, vice versa, we have something like rope flow where we're just going through that entire sequence of ranges of the flow movements themselves, stringing them together. And, so again, polarity